Hey guys, it's FallenDice, and welcome to episode 31 of FallenDice Plays Better Than Buildcraft. And we are picking back up on our automated sheep shearing facility. I wonder if I should come up with names for some of these things. People have cool names for stuff they do. This is one of those ones where I think this is a unique enough design and something different that maybe I should come up with one. So I'll think about it. Maybe I'll come up with a cool name for it, maybe an acronym or something like that. But anyway, so we're back to work here. I went and, placed some dirt blocks around here. Got a few uh, grass blocks with my silk touch to kind of populate, and then I left my game running all night, so they all have turned to grass. And this will just make it easier when I go through and re-dirt everything. It'll be growing from multiple areas, so it'll grow faster. But I had time, so I figured I would do it, at least get a head start. So anyway, like I said, our first goal for this episode is to completely dirt all three of our holding cell areas. And then I think also our inner circle as well. We'll go ahead and keep that green just to kind of add to the look of it. And then luckily I have a ton of dirt upstairs. Kind of walled myself in to keep any baddies from sneaking up on me. Oh, yeah, sorry. Didn't want to be surprised. But yeah, so we got cobble, cobble. I got dirt here somewhere. I may actually have to make a... That's all the dirt I have. You know what? I'm going to have to make a trip back. Oh, by the way, this is all the supplies that I got from digging that out, or should I say from mining it out. So, 2.5 stacks of coal, some flint. That was from up here. A little bit of sand from the water area right there. Every time I blew up, it was either there. No, actually, I think it was the one over here. But yeah, every time I'd blow up underneath it, the whole floor came down. Water was spreading everywhere. It was kind of annoying. And two, I forgot to as well. I came up with, I think, a pretty clever and unique design for how to get the sheep into all those carts. Because I'm going to have to do a lot of them. And that's one of the things I hadn't been looking forward to. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a couple breeding harnesses and set up the sheep above a drop, and the drop will basically be a one wide all the way around down to the bottom, and underneath there will be a cart, kind of like the way that the sheep are in their pens waiting to get moved, with kind of glass blocking it, so they can't walk through the glass, but they'll be fine when the cart moves. So they'll drop down on top of the cart. They won't actually land in the cart, but they'll be taking up the same space, so as soon as the cart starts to move, they will be picked up in the cart. At least that's, I believe, what's going to happen. They'll be picked up by the cart, and then we'll have them on the rail. And so I'll build this thing over the kind of like where the exit for the sheep shearing area is. And then all I have to do is flip the switch for whichever one of the areas I want it to, and they'll end up right where they're supposed to be. And then after that, I can go back, color them, and we'll be good to go. Yes. In case you haven't watched all my episodes, this is my original storage area built in my cabin. And, I'm going to get rid of all my cobble too. When I get to my 100th subscriber, this is what I've kind of been saying since I first started this, that my first subscriber special would be for 100 subscribers. And when I get to my 100 subscribers and I do my special, it's going to be pretty much a full global world tour, going from start to finish, all my creations, with kind of like annotations built into the video to take you to each episode where that actually was created or built. So if you see something you kind of like and you'd like to see how I built it, or maybe build it yourself, you can just click on the annotation and it'll take you to that video. In addition, I plan on putting up my world for download. I did have some people that really wanted to kind of be able to play in my world, and I told them I was waiting until I did my first subscriber special because I still need to finish furnishing my cabin. So that I still need to do, and that's why I wanted to touch up those projects in my last episode, is I want to be able to kind of keep all my projects completed, so that when I get to that uh, subscriber special and the downloads available, I'll have all finished projects, or except for maybe what I might be working on at the time. So anyway, so that's a lot of server news. That's a lot of channel news. And now I'm gonna head back over there. We'll start digging up, like I said, and I'm gonna get my dirt in there. And then when I get all that taken care of, I'll pop back in and I'll give you an update as far as where we are. So anyway, I will see you guys soon. Alright, so we just completed trip home number 4 for another fresh load of dirt and a new pick. I actually had to abuse a little more life on my efficiency, unbreaking, and fortune pick, which I didn't really want to do, but there was just a little bit left I had to finish. So, um, another new pick, a little bit more dirt. I've got 2 full ones down. All we have left now is this third section, and I had forgot to mention something as well. Um, if you frequent the Better Than Wolves forum, Flower Child's forum for the mod, they also have a section for Better Than Buildcraft. And if you go over there, you'll notice that there's actually been a surge of YouTubers out there who have decided to start making LPs that's better than Buildcraft. I think MC Crawl was probably the one that kind of got the whole thing started with a lot of his friends from Burpcraft. But the one thing I noticed about them was they're all using hardcore bucket mode. And I know people have asked me before I should try, putting some stuff in there. And I'll be honest, I had never really researched a lot into it, and it just seemed like it was going to be a huge hassle. But I've decided to kind of look into it and realize that I think does kind of add a little bit more of a fun gameplay aspect to things, and is more towards the way that Flower Child kind of wanted things to go. So So I am going to do it. I need to go into my config file, find that nice little spot where I had checked it to turn off the hardcore bucket mode, and we will now be playing with hardcore bucket mode. So I don't know that I'm really going to need it for this project here, but I do know there'll be some projects in the upcoming where I am going to need to kind of do some stuff with water, and at that point I'll pull out the science behind the bucket, or the spout, how to make it, how to use it, some of the basics. All right, well, we are done with the dirt. Got some growing left to do over there yet, but the dirt's all in on all 3 of our holding areas. So it's time to get to work in here. So I plan on having like steps along the edge to conceal the redstone going underneath, and I just didn't want to have a block sticking out. So it's got to be, whatever material we use has to either go well with stairs or be material that has stairs. So I'm gonna head back to my storage, and we'll pick out some different materials, and then we'll come back, and I think, well, no, I think I'm going to do that in my creative world rather than coming out here, building, destroying, building. I don't think it's going to make a big difference if I build it down here to see what it looks like. So, already eating my grass. I see how you are. So yeah, so I'm going to do a few different designs back in my creative world, then we'll see what we think looks best, and then we'll come back in and we'll start putting it together. Alright, so we have some decisions here. So here was just using the exact same type of block. So we've got the brick, the nether brick, the stone brick, and the regular wood. And then using the regular wood, we came over here and we threw in some sandstone, the darker woods, and then I kind of all these here, I liked this best. So I kind of went over here and showed what it'll look like if we just put colored wool for the switch, and then down here it takes away that whole innard anyway, and then it's just if it's solid wool all the way around. I think it's going to be between this and this. And I may go with this to kind of give it that rustic look, since it'll kind of more match the city. I'm not the city, but the NPC village. So, all right. So we have the beginnings of our control room going. Got the torches up. Got our redstone lamps up. I don't know what the floor is going to be yet, so I just kind of left that blank. That and the ceiling. It's more prettification type at the later date. Obviously, I'll get rid of our torches here with some kind of lamps or either glowstone or lamps up there. Oh, maybe I'll put like a switch over here, turn it on and off. But nah, I don't need to have mobs spawning down here. The only way that would be feasible is if I were to put half slab floor in. But I don't need to. We'll probably just put glowstone up there. But our next thing is I want to start working on the tracks. Before I do any redstone wiring or anything like that, I need to get the track part done, at least the roundabout, and then the turn into each one of these areas, and make sure all my spacing's good, just in case I need to widen anything or, you know, adjust anything. So I'm gonna go ahead. Let's see. We know this is gonna be our first part, so we'll go ahead and drop that. I'll do that real fast. I mean, I could do this on camera, but I really don't want to waste a large amount of time as I walk around just placing rail, just because episodes tend to get long, and I'd rather save it for stuff that's actually, I say, useful to to see. So let me do this real fast, and then I will be right back. Alright, so the roundabout's in here. Now here's the key thing. And I'm going to start over here because I'd rather take more of this wall out. So basically what's going on here is... And that's why I want to do it over here, is because this is only going to be able to come up to a certain point over here. So let's see. For now, we'll say we're taking the rail this way. Oops, it won't be that way. Get my dirt blocks back. It'll actually be here, because we need that block of grass on either side of it. So there's that, and then see, each one's 6 blocks. Alright, give me 1 sec while I remember exactly how much space I had between the two. I think there was either 3 or 4 blocks between. I'm going to go back and look at the prototype, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I was right. It is 6 wide, and it's got to be the 1 block on either side because of using the glass blocks. So that means it has to be grass, rail, 2 blocks of grass, rail, and then grass again. And then basically it's going to go like this, and then over to here. So I got a rail here, rail here, rail here, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5. So technically I didn't even need to go that far over. So I think I have extra space, and I think I planned for that, just I didn't want to accidentally have any issues. So, alright, that's just extra space along the side there. And then of course I suppose I could go through and, well, actually I'm going to need to make a lot more. In fact, I'm going to have to go back and get a bunch more iron. I plan on running all of the track for this thing with regular track, and then I'll just go back and take out regular track and replace it with powered rail at the different areas. And I'm not worried about ending up with a whole bunch of regular track left over at the end, because I do still need to do my nether rail system. So I'm still gonna have a need for a lot of rails. So I'll be fine with having extras left over. So um, yeah, let me my OCD in full effect. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna head back to my storage, pick up a bunch of iron, smelt it all. Well, actually, I already smelted, but craft it into rail tracks, and then I'm gonna come back and I'll do that off camera. But when I come back, I should have all of the rail systems built all the way over there, including the incline and decline. Again, I'll add in the powered rails later, but that way I can find out exactly with the space I have here how many pods are or how many stations will be in each one. So, all right, well I will be back. All right, so here we are. I've got 2 lines set up, and then I played with the cart just to make sure nothing reset. So using this setup, I don't even need to have detector rails to switch or anything like that. The only one that's going to have to switch is right here. And again, that'll be controlled by the switches. When that happens, it's automatically going to send them over to here where the grass block is. That'll be my detector block, and that's going to send the signal straight down the center here, which will power the redstone, or I mean the powered rail on the back of each one of these. There, 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 like that. So that'll give them all heading forward. Um, there's a room for 13 sheep in each one of these. So we got a baker's dozen of every color of sheep is what we're going to have in here. Alright, our first pad area is done as far as regular rails. I now have blank where the powered rails go. So each section is going to have 3. So the one initially leading up into here, but then after that it's going to be these 2. Actually, no, it's only 2. And then these 2. And these 2. And the reason why is we need to have enough power to get them up the ramp, but we want them to slow down on the way up because they want to make it over the top but drop straight down because they need to be at the wall for the powered rail to send them up the next area. So like I said, we got quite a few more cells in here now than I did on my prototype. And then over here, what you end up having is a block here because again, it needs to have the block behind it where and this is going to be the powered rail again. And when the signal comes, it'll send it over here. And I don't think that works. I may have to look at that. Well, I'll have to find out if it's got enough power. Okay, I can put the powered rail there. Sorry, never mind. I don't even know why I was thinking that. Yeah, I can have powered rail there. Alright, so this will work. But yep, five pods. And I think what I want to do now, before I move on to the next ones, since I know I have enough space, I would like to run the power from the switches over to here and get that all set up and make sure this is all functioning, which means I should probably go ahead and make my powered rail. So, you know what? I'm gonna finish my first pod. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll get our gold and stuff. We'll make some powered rails. We'll run our redstone signal from under here, and basically, like I said, the one pressure plate's gonna be right here. And when they hit this, it'll send the redstone signal to power this one, and then it'll also go down to power all the other ones so they can all one at a time kind of go over like that. So yeah, so let me do that and I will be right back. Alright, so we have our first redstone, our first powered rails in. I added a few along the track just to kind of make sure we keep the sheep moving. The biggest, I wouldn't say worry, and I'll probably end up adding more after, so I'll complete once I get some more gold. I'll come back and add more in. Just because the more powered rail you have, and I'm not sure, I'll probably do some research to make sure, but I know they don't go quite as far as the cart does with a player in it. And we want to make sure they go quickly so that we're not waiting too long between sheeps coming back and forth, especially at the further back ones. So here's how we got it working. This one here, I think we may just permanently have, and I think that probably what we will end up doing, is we'll just kind of have this one permanently. Yep, I already do. Okay, good. Already forgetting what I'm doing. Um, and the reason for that is whether it's coming or going, the timing is not going to be an issue on this one. It's only going to be coming onto this track if this here is turned into it. And on the way out, it's only going to make it to here if this one's been powered. So it doesn't. We don't need to worry about putting this one on the same as the detector rail system. So with that being said, the detector rail, I have it coming up and going into this block here because that's our first thing. As it comes through, it needs to be able to power its way up here. And I could also leave that one on a permanent one, but since it was right here, it really wasn't that big of a deal. Now the rest of these, as you can see, I've got a hole under each one, under the first block. And I have that on all of them, and that's because we want to put a redstone torch in each one. And then as we go back here, obviously we see we have powered rail now. But we don't want it powered unless they happen to be coming across this detector rail here. So what we have to do first off is we want to invert our signal because we want the normal state of these to be off. And here's I get to be creative because I have to make sure, sorry, that we can get it going into here. And I may need to move. Well, I hope I don't because that's going to take a little bit of issue. I guess what I can do is this, just so I don't have to move everything. That's the one thing I don't really want to have to do is move everything. Okay, so that's good. So now with this, instead of having them powered, they are now unpowered. However, if the sheep coming back over here hits this detector rail, it will send a signal over here. The inverted signal here now turns off, which allows these to turn on. And so if there's any sheep, which there will be, any sheep sitting on this block here inside a rail cart will now get pushed up to the next one. Because it's only a detector, so it's only getting a pulse. By the time they get up to the top, fall back down, this will no longer be powered, so they will just basically move one spot forward and then wait for the next time that the signal goes. So I'm going to go ahead, power all of these up. I'm going to come over here and hook this up, and then I'm going to see if I can lure me a sheep down here, get him on a cart, and just kind of set it on a constant back and forth sort of thing, and we'll test this out, make sure everything works before we move forward. Once we verify that it works and we can turn the signal on and off and it makes it all the way around, then we'll go ahead and do the rest of them. Also, before I do that, you notice too I dug out a 3-block area above each one of these, and purpose obviously for those being we don't want to cause any damage to our sheep while they're going through the system. So they'll kind of come up here, and it gives them the 2-block height for them so they don't take damage. And then everything else is good. So, alright, be right back. Alright, let's give this a try. Couple things I figured out while I was going through here. Once I attach this, as you can see on the way over here, let's turn this off real fast. By the way, you can see right now, with the light on, power coming down, we now have this track selected. And as soon as I turn off the light, that will undo, which is what we want. There we go, no power coming down. Now it's back the other way. And so what this is saying is if this track isn't selected, you're just going to keep going past it. Now the problem being, whichever track was selected coming down was going to try and go into here instead of going to the facility. So we've put this detector rail right here. So on its way down, it's always going to flip the track forward to keep going straight ahead. At least I believe so. I'll have to check that out to make sure, but I'm pretty sure that'll work. If not, I'm going to have to redesign this part. But anyway, for now, just to test our pod here. So, again, we'll go back and turn this on. Let's see, here we go. And got a nice little sheep over there. I can't wait to get the my little breeding one, because I ended up having to lure him in behind me with wheat, putting up dirt blocks around it to trap him in there, and then sending the cart over there. I couldn't imagine trying to do that to fill up an entire. Oh, I only have to do two, and then I can use them to do my breeding. So, anyway, so over here I've built this, and what this is it's just a single switch that'll automatically turn this thing on and off, so I don't keep having to send another one through here to hit my detector rail, which is what starts it. So, flipping the switch, now they're all off, now they're all on. So basically I can just come up here and go like that, and that'll, oops, actually I probably want it off first. Yep, there we go. And that'll key the system, so I can basically send him all the way through all the different sections in there until he comes all the way back out. Alright, so here we go. Let's go ahead and we'll send him this way first, just for the fun of it. He should come right back. Yep, there we go. Just to kind of get an idea of speed too. Alright, and okay, that didn't work. But that's why we are testing this. I may need to go back and look. Maybe I had 2 powered rails going on it, or maybe it's too close and so he's hitting it before it's powered. And if that's the case, I may just go back to where I originally did before. So we'll just get rid of you, we'll get rid of you, get rid of you, and we're just going to make you a permanently powered track. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Because basically, if a cart comes through here, it needs to get up there. So with that, okay, there we go. Now we look over here, you see he's right up against the wall, which is what we want. So if I, oops, I had to put in some redstone down there to connect it. Pick up that stuff too. Alright, now, oh, did I just leave it on permanent? I did. Alright, well that's fine. We'll see, making sure that he can make it all the way through the system. There you go. He ate on his way. That's the key thing too, is the fact that they can eat while they're moving. So having all of this grass is going to give it a better chance of them having wool again by the time they get to the end. Alright, so here he is in the first stand. So we'll just kind of do this one momentarily, long enough to get him to pop up and drop down. That's good. And then we'll do it again. And I don't think I left it on long enough. I wonder if maybe that's why he got stuck the last time too. I think that when this episode ends, I know I'm not going to have this thing completely filled. What I'll probably end up being happy to have is maybe the first pod fully filled with sheep and a couple other ones, and I'm just going to have to keep coming back in and rebreeding sheep. Like I said, unless I make multiples of the breeding thing, what I can probably do is have them all, like just lining them up all the way over here, and even like over there, having them all directed towards it, and then yeah. So what? That's my next goal. We're going to design and create my what do we call this thing? We'll call this my passive mob minecart breeder feeder. Passive mob minecart PMMBF. A PMMBF. There we go. This is my PMMBF that we're about to design and build. But I'm going to do this back in my test world. So I'm going to go over there, play around with it, and then I'll come back and show you what I come up with. Alright, here we are. Not too difficult to do, but definitely going to save me a ton of work. So what we did here, got both in breeding harnesses on a pedestal with the one block between it, which is rail. Each one of these has got a block dispenser. Got it filled up with wheat. Well, not filled up, but it has some wheat. And button here, so I control everything from this side, so basically every 5 minutes. And I could probably put it on a timer, but then they have to do with the carts, and until 1.3 when you can launch or dispense carts, then this will work even better, because you can have the whole system set up, and each time a delay, these will fire off, baby will be born, eject a cart, and then that's a little bit after that, power it, and then boom, all automatic. But for now, yeah, making sure I didn't have anything in there. We'll go ahead and fire it off. There's one. There's two. Baby's over there. Drop the cart in, and it picks it all the way up. Technically, I don't need to have it on. You can set it in there, and then just fire it right into the baby. But yep, simple and easy. 5 minutes later, come back up, feed him again, drop another cart. I gotta keep remembering to turn that off. Drop another cart, and then as soon as the baby pops off, send it over there. All right, we're ready to give this a try. I was trying to figure out how to do the lighting, because obviously if you see, I can't put torches in between. The glass is necessary in between sections. I mean, I could put it here, but I don't like torches anyway, and I didn't really want to go through the nether and spend another hour collecting glowstone dust so I could put them all up in the ceiling. And then I thought, you know what? It's sheep farm. It's kind of farmish, so pumpkin, jack-o'-lanterns. And it works kind of good because I can put it under here. This was never going to be a grass block. It was always going to be a dirt block. So putting it under there gives us plenty of light. As you can see, I mean, we're block light, our block level light, 10, 11, 12, 10, 11, 12. So we have no issues with light. Grass can grow, keep our sheep happy. So anyway, this one is fully set up now. I've got all the glass in. So you can see they come over here, they drop down. That piece of glass in front is one block above the ground, and then to the side it's completely enclosed. So the sheep, even when they get out of the cart, cannot escape. They're stuck in the same block as the cart. So when you come in and activate it and the cart starts moving, it automatically picks the sheep back up and takes them in. So this allows us to keep the sheep even when we log in and out. Let's go ahead. Kind of excited to see how this works. Let me make sure I got all these are pointing in the right direction. Got these all filled up. I only ended up doing 8. I figured the rest of it was overkill. 8 was plenty of enough because just 2 breeding cycles can feed up a pen, and I still have a ton of work to do. So there's no way I'm gonna get these done before. I mean, I am gonna use the builders on these, but you know, while it builds, it does take a while. So I'm okay with where we're at. So anyway, we'll head back over here. Release the hounds. Oh, actually, hounds would herd sheep, but we'll release the sheep. Make sure, and we'll do it one at a time because it should come in here, go through, flip the switch, and drop down. When I let the next one go, the first one should actually move up and drop, and it goes in its place. So it'll test our whole system as well. And since there's 13 slots and only 8 breeding things, I don't have to worry about having them come out of the backside. So, I'm nervous. All right, drum roll, and here we go. And she's in the spot. She looks like, I don't know, see, I may need to adjust. I don't, this might be too much, too close, and it's giving it too much power. Question is, I don't know if it's gonna send her. I'm a little nervous. It did. Okay, well, never mind. So much for that. Oh shoot. I think if I stand here when it comes through, it should hit me and go backwards and then get back into the system, and it does. Okay, good. Now we unpower it, and yay, there we go. Okay, good. It works. Alright, let's go release the next ones. And wait for a sheep. There we go. Again, we'll go watch it. Once I see a couple work, I'll feel comfortable to... What the... Okay, what happened? Where's my other sheep? They're not in the same spot, are they? Oh! Oh! The redstone's not powered. Oh, goodness. Take a torch. And we'll do that. It wouldn't be FallenDice plays better than Buildcraft without something like that. Good. That looks good, though. Alright, do I need to do that over here as well? Oh, but I don't want to do it there. Dang it. Okay. As long as it makes... Okay, good. And I don't think these are going to... I never put any redstone. Alright, I'll release these other two here. I was only filling up over there and I didn't need redstone. But I do need to go this far, so... Alright, 1, 2... Alright, we're over here. Sorry. And wait for the magic to happen, and there we go. I really like this system. I think this is pretty cool. And the last one. Alright, let's go verify that all 4 ended up in their proper position, and if they do, I'll go get my redstone, add in, or my powered rail, add those in. But there we are. Works perfectly. Alright, we are filled up, and I was wrong with the numbers. It's actually 13, not 11. And another thing I had to do was this block, and I remember now this is what starts the whole system. If this were on all the time, it would just keep going. There'd be no way to stop it. So now when this switch is turned on and the light goes on, and this is powered, we head down here. This is where it powers the block, which switches the track up there. But in addition, we also send the power over here to power this block to turn off that torch. And this is what turns off that the powered rail at the very end of our system. As soon as I flip that switch over there, this rail turns on, and the rail here turns over so that we start using this back and forth. He'll come through here, head over to the shearing area. When he's done, he comes back, hits this detector rail, which sends power to everything. This will still be powered on as long as that switch is there. That's when they all move ahead one. This one, when he drops on, it's a powered rail, so he immediately takes off. And so that's how we have a continued fully automated as they spin in a circle going around. And then as soon as I turn off the switch, this loses power, so the last sheep going through here pushes them all ahead. But when this one drops down, since it's not powered, he now sits there and our system stops. So that's how we prevent ourselves from getting sheep stuck somewhere or mixing them up with different colors. You just need to make sure that if you're going to switch between colors, that you give ample time for the sheep to make it all the way back before you change any settings. Otherwise, you run the risk of them going to the wrong one. But that just made me think of something. As soon as you turn that switch off, this switches as well. I need to think about that. That's actually a flaw in my system here. So, hold on. Alright, so that definitely actually was a huge issue. Without having been able to come up with a solution, that definitely would have brought this to a standstill, because the only other way I could have done it, and it would have still worked, would have been to have some kind of manual switches out here where I could come up and turn that rail on and off. But that kind of takes away from what the whole purpose of this is, and that I don't want to have to leave that room. This is behind the scenes, don't ever have to look at it unless we want to. So what I did is this. So we've got a new line coming in. Up is off, down is on. So no matter if I have any of these switches flipped on, if this isn't flipped down and lighting this up, the system won't work. It requires this and one of those. And to show you how we did that, um, so here's our normal signal that was coming in here, and this is what turns at rail. But we also did is we ended up branching it off and coming into an AND gate. And I'm gonna see we'll see how things work out as far as spacing for the other ones once we get over to there. And I'm hoping this still works, or I can find a way to make it work. I may have to try and get really creative on some of these other ones, but we'll see what happens. But for now, this works here. So for this to be lit, to turn on that powered rail, we have to have both these off. So that means that the signal from our switch over there has to be turned on. And then over here, we've got the signal coming from that second switch over here. And that also has to be turned on. When that happens, it'll turn that off. And both of these will be off. And do I even have a wave up there right now? I have to jump. It's like a work in progress. Oh, come on, I can do this. Alright, there we go. Alright, and then once that's on, this one will turn on, which turns that one off. This one turns on, and it allows us to work. Alright, guys. So the sheep don't like to stay put. I guess when I did my initial testings and stuff, and they seemed like they worked, I guess I needed to do a few more tests because they do in fact get out. Sometimes they stay in, sometimes they don't. But when they get out, the cart doesn't start moving, doesn't get them back in, and they start to pile up, causes issues, so that design did not work. So, I went online, did some research on some of the breeding cells of people that that did work, and main one was Zuma, and his second one used pistons. So I was trying some experimenting, seeing which, when they regrew their wool, these ones actually got out again. But basically discovered they only eat the wool underneath them. I have not seen them eat the ones on the side, except for maybe this one. Every now and then he'll eat the one in front or behind when he seems to be a little bit over the edge. So they pretty much only eat the one they're on. So that's where we got to this one. Since they couldn't regrow wool sitting on a piston, instead of what he did where he just had landed on the piston, I put it even one further back with a grass block for them to sit on. And then I put the basically 6 grass blocks surrounding him to make a higher chance for that middle block to grow again, because that seems to be what they eat. And this does work. I logging in and logging out, even dropping the empty cart on there, and then just using the egg to drop it down, so he's not in the cart yet. When the switch is flipped and the cart and them drop, it does land inside there. And honestly, this actually seems like it's an even better system than the last one. The other one had so many bugs, like if I had issues, like things would catch. This is actually better. And it's not identical to what they were doing, because their stuff was, doing pairs, and it had all kinds of different types of wiring to make it, the way it works. This, I think, is a more simplified version of it, and this is what we're going to go with. So I'm going to kind of have to go back into my world, tear up the 2 pods that I completely did, and completely change the underground part as well. Except for like this bottom part probably will be similar to what I already have. But yeah, this, oh come on, this will work. And actually, like I said, I think this will work really well. Much more, less room for error. A lot less room for error. And again, when they spawn out of their spots, they do um, they do end up getting back in their cart and moving. Um, as far as if they don't grow the wool there, we do have the nice long path on the way over to the facility and back again. So hopefully that long distance coupled with, the chance of it growing back here, I'm hoping that they'll be able to grow wool back at a fairly consistent pace. If not, even if it's only half of them, like we said, with 11 to 12 of them, we'll have in there, 6 per cycle. Isn't that bad, especially considering this is an AFK thing. I don't have to stay here. I can just flip the switch and keep it running. So, eh, it's not back to the drawing board because we've already drawn, but it's back to the building board. We got to go back and start this thing all over again. But in the end, I think kind of like before, I like how this turned out, and I think this is going to work out better. So, all right, I'll see you guys in a few. All right, so I'm in the middle of editing episode 31, and I'm at 45 minutes, and I haven't even gotten started on the new design. So, looks like this is going to be a three-parter. So we're going to go ahead and call this episode at this point right now. I'm not turning around because I don't want to show any spoilers. So, anyway, sorry this one's taking so long, but it was really a lot of trial and error, and I don't want to be just, this is what I did without kind of showing why things were changed, just because sometimes what you do wrong is a lot more helpful than what we do right as far as for what you learn. And so yeah, I'm skipping a lot of the monologue stuff where I'm talking about the system, how it's supposed to work, just because as it didn't work that way, and I switched ideas, I didn't want to waste a lot of time there. But I did kind of the theory behind stuff. I did put some of it in there, and then of course as I'm discovering the problems. So anyway, yeah, we'll call this one episode here for now. I've already recorded on the stuff for episode 32. So again, these 3 episodes should come out rather close together. So please rate, comment, and subscribe. Give me a like if you enjoyed this. Leave a comment if you have any questions or any ideas on how I could maybe do some of this stuff, make it work better. And then, of course, subscribe for notification of all my future episodes. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.